Well, good morning. Another stupid video with crazy hair, although it doesn't look so bad. I thought it would look a lot worse. This is a video on something that's been going on the forums. A discussion that I found interesting because it has a lot to do with something that I have been bitching and moaning about for a long time, beating a dead horse. If I can find a video of a dead horse, I will insert it here, which I won't. And somebody asked a very simple question. Will the Insight see a deer in the road? And there's been a lot of discussion on it, a lot of opinions, and I've chimed in with mine. I certainly am no slouch at giving an opinion, especially on anything that has to do with the auto cruise control and the automatic braking, and whether it sees things or doesn't see things, because I've been bitching about that for a long time. I think there's a lot of general opinions on this, and I think the general consensus is yes, more than likely it will see a deer in the road. How well it will react to this is a whole nother question that we've all been discussing. So this video is going to be mostly, you just seeing my face talking about it, or people who don't go to the forums. Some people just don't want to go to the forums, I'm sure. So, general consensus believes that it probably would see a deer, and I believe it would. I have driven this car many, many times. I haven't run into any deers with this car yet, but there are a lot of deer in Maine, and it does happen on some of these back roads that I'm on. I have had instances where I'm driving the car at about 40 miles per hour, and I'm going through a slight curve, and there's a bicyclist riding on the road way off to the side. And the car will start slowing itself down, because the adaptive cruise control sees the bicyclist as an object in the way. And of course the car is in the middle of a turn, or a partial turn, very small turn, like a curve. Duh. Maybe we figure out the word. And it does slow down. It's also stopped for pedestrians in the road. A little too quickly, in my opinion, but it does. Do I think it would see the deer? Absolutely would I think it'd see a deer. Am I going to depend on that? Not with this car, I'm not, and not with the system the way it is now. I don't think the system is advanced enough or good enough to do it properly. And more than likely, especially at the speeds we're talking about where you're going to hit a deer, you're probably in the 30 to 50 mile per hour range, and it's more than likely going to be the brake mitigation. We can always hope that the radar will see the deer ahead of time, but you got to keep in mind, I'm wondering whether it actually has an object identification routine built into it. Does it actually look for particular objects? I mean, it recognizes the silhouette of a pedestrian, maybe a silhouette of a bicyclist, a motorcycle. Although I do remember the manual saying it can be a little difficult to see motorcycles at times too. So I don't think it really has a catalog. But if it does it include a deer in that catalog? And would it put the deer as a tree? And it would tend to ignore it until the last second, where it's obvious that the radar and the camera sees it as an object in the road, and the car slams on its brakes at the last second. In which case you get what's called braking mitigation. That's another way, it's a weasel word that I use, that they use, I think, in order to avoid lawsuits. It's mitigation. It's not going to stop your car in time. It's going to mitigate the crash you're about to have. That's basically what it is. At this point, some are more advanced than other cars than others. I'm sure the Teslas are more advanced and probably better at it, and so forth. But at this point, I think their worry is that it's going to be slamming on its brakes every 5 seconds, seeing stuff that it's not supposed to stop for. And without a bigger brain in it, and I think that would involve object recognition as opposed to just radar response and some object recognition from the camera. A little bigger library, more advanced computer aspects, that you're going to have to assume with a deer, it's more than likely going to be braking mitigation as opposed to stopping you in time, unless you're going reasonably slow speed, like 20, 25 miles per hour, in which case the braking system might see the deer in time to stop the car at full braking capacity. So will it see a deer? I think it will. It sees bicyclists. It sees pedestrians. I don't see how a deer isn't any less of a object in the road. I do have lots of little small animals that tend to cross the road. Car don't see them. But then again, I tend to see them early because I'm keeping an eye on them and I'm hitting my brakes early or I'm swerving early and all that. in which case the car is bitching about road mitigation, falling off the road mitigation crap, which it does all the time anyway because Ruby just hates me. So I found this a very interesting discussion. I believe the person who started was a person by the name of RC Lab, and I think they got a little bit. I'm trying to think of the word. I'm sorry. Here comes my brain damage starting all over the word. I don't want to insult him because I don't think it was. I don't mean an insult. Frustrated when he said, "Can somebody give me the real answer on this?" The real answer is, yeah, it probably will. The safe answer is don't you damn well depend on it, because this car has its own ideas of how it handles things, and you got to remember you're dealing with a computer and a camera. And a bunch of funky German people, I guess, in the Bosch network, and a whole bunch of Asian, Japanese dudes, and who the heck knows programming programs into the thing, trying to decide how it should respond for you. So I wanted to make this stupid little video because a lot of the talk on the forums are about gas mileage and all that. I get 50 miles to the gallon. I'm happy. It ain't as good as it should be, but then again, I have a lot of matting in the car for sound dampening for my stereo. And quite frankly, I'd be willing to cut even more gas mileage out if I could get more sound dampening for outside sounds, because this car is very loud on the road overall. I think the EX is quieter. I think their tires are quieter. But I believe it will see your deer. I believe you should never depend on this system. Always keep your eye out, especially on the Honda. The Ford I can depend on more. I'm still careful. The Ford is much more reliable in this aspect. But the Honda system, yeah, it'll see your deer. It will probably slam on the brakes. And if you're going fast enough, you're probably going to hit that deer if you're not paying attention. If you're not paying attention, you deserve to hit the deer. I'm not so sure the deer deserves to be hit. But I guess that's really a matter of personal opinion and whether you like deer or not, or whether you're hungry and you're looking to throw something into the trunk for a later meal. So this is Verdier out with this absolutely stupid discussion. My stupid discussion, my stupid opinion on a discussion. The discussion isn't stupid. My opinion is stupid. But I just wanted to pass it on to anybody else who's wondering. Will the Insight see a deer? Yeah, it'll see a deer. Don't you count on it stopping you in time. Over and out, my friends.